Hey everyone, it's Kim over here at Creating Community, and today I thought I would share with you what we have been reading or had been reading in our third quarter homeschool. It's been a long time since I've shared what we've been reading, so this is all stuff from the third quarter. We are well into our fourth quarter of homeschool, and so I'll be sharing that stuff in the future. But for now, let me show you what we read in the third quarter. So the first two books, I'm going to just post a picture up there somewhere because I gifted them to some other people, so I don't have the physical books anymore. And the first one was called Never Caught, the Story of Ona Judge. And it was an amazing book. We did it for Black History Month for the month of February. We absolutely love that book. I highly recommend it to you. It is so worth it. And that's why I gifted it to somebody else, because I wanted them to have the chance to read it and love it as much as we did. Okay, so the next book that I gifted out was called, where is it? Elijah of Buxton, and it's by Christopher Paul Curtis. That is another really, really, really good book. Both of these books, I would suggest that your student be a little bit older. I wouldn't read it to like a young elementary age student. I wouldn't recommend that for either one of them, because there's some pretty heavy duty stuff in the books, but so good. Elijah of Buxton. I was crying at the end. I do that in a lot of books though, so you can't go by me, but it was so good. Hope and I really enjoyed that book as well. I highly recommend it. If you haven't read that book, you need to. So the last two books that I shared with you were actually books that I just incorporated into our homeschool. And if you're a follower of my channel, you know we're of course continuing on with the Anne of Green Gables series, and we're actually on the last book, and I didn't bring that in here, but yeah, of course, we're still reading that. And it's been slow moving because we always are reading so many other books. So the rest of these books are actually books that were part of Sunlight Core D, Early American History. And Sunlight never fails. Like, their books are amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you what we finished reading, actually. The first one, Christian Heroes Then and Now, Adoniram Judson, Bound for Burma. What an amazing story this was. It was so good. It's a rough read. I'm going to let you know that. There's a lot of heavy stuff in this book as well, but it's so worth the read. It was so good. It keeps you captivated. It keeps you interested. I can give you a really quick synopsis right here in the back. As America's first foreign missionary, Adoniram Judson thirsted to see the good news brought to the shrouded land of Burma. His thirst would be quenched, but at an unimaginable price. And yeah, Adoniram survived starvation, imprisonment, and torture both on land and at sea, only to watch his family, co-workers, and friends succumb to death. So yes, it's rough. It's real life. So let's move on to the next book, but it's really good. So the next book that we read in our homeschool, I'm going to be honest here, this was one of the books that I just had a hard time. I just wasn't into it. So I gave it to Poppy. So Poppy read this book. I listened here and there, but Carry On, Mr. Bowditch by Jean Lee Latham. And I'll give you a synopsis. The romance of Old Salem, sailing ships, the adventures and legends of the sea, and the perseverance and integrity of a boy are skillfully combined in this very readable biography. A thrilling and challenging story of a mathematical genius who fought the handicaps of physical smallness, poverty, and superstitions, and wrote the American Practical Navigator. So it is a good book, but it just wasn't my thing. You know what I mean? And I hope said it was okay. Poppy loved it. Yeah. Okay, so the next book that we read was The Lewis and Clark Expedition by Richard L. Neuberger. This was good. It was very good. Myself and Poppy took turns reading this one. And, you know, I don't think I really need to read the synopsis to you. It's about Lewis and Clark. But yeah, pretty darn good. This here is another great book. It's called Casto, Blackfeet Twin Captures on Elk Dog. Kenneth Thomasma and Jack Brower. And this was a good book as well. I'm going to give you a synopsis of this. I really like living history type books, and Sunlight really does a great job at that. So 300 years ago, the Blackfeet tribe wandered the northern plains in search of the buffalo they needed for meat and hides. The braves hunted on foot, which made stalking and killing the large animals very dangerous. The women and the children followed, using backpacks and dogs to carry their belongings. Young Casto longs for the day when he can take his place as a brave. He doesn't have to wait long for adventure, however. While serving as lookouts, he and his twin sister discover a strange animal that has never before been seen by the Blackfeet tribe. The animal is a horse. The tribe calls it an elk dog. Life in the tribe is never the same after the first elk dog is discovered and captured. For many years, the story of the twins and the first elk dog is told around Blackfeet fires. So the last read aloud that we did with Hope is this book, and then I will share you what she actually read. But this is Justin Morgan Had a Horse by Marguerite Henry. Very good book again. We really enjoyed this book. Joel Goss knows that Little Bub is a special colt, even though he's a runt. And when school teacher Justin Morgan asked Joel to break the colt in, Joel is thrilled. Soon, word about Little Bub has spread throughout the entire Northeast. This spirited colt can pull heavier loads than a pair of oxen and run faster than thoroughbreds. This is the story of the little runt who became the father of the world-famous breed of American horses, the Morgan. Really good read, and if your child is an animal lover, you're going to definitely like this book. Okay, so for the next two books, these are books that Hope was required reading for Hope. And she said she enjoyed both of these books very much. And the first one is Robert Fulton, Boy Craftsman by Marguerite Henry. And Newbery Award-winning author Marguerite Henry brings young Robert Fulton alive in this fascinating look at the foundational and character-forming acquaintances and experiences of the man generally credited with making steamboat transportation a commercial success in the United States and elsewhere around the world. So, like I said, she said she really liked this book. And I haven't really had her say to me that she has really disliked any of the books that she's had to read. Now, some of the ones we've read to her, sometimes they're not her favorites. But yeah, all the ones that she's had to read, she has told me she has enjoyed. Okay, so here's the very last book, another read that Hope read, Sarah Witcher's Story by Elizabeth Yates, a folk tale from New Hampshire. And she said she really enjoyed this as well. One day, Sarah follows a tiny bird away from her family's cabin. A clearing of wildflowers and a strawberry patch draw her deep into the thick forest. When night begins to creep through the trees, Sarah realizes that she is lost. On the farm, settlers gather to search for Sarah, but after long days of tramping through the woods, they begin to lose hope. Only Sarah's father believes that they will find her alive. Okay, there you have it, y'all. All of the books that we have been reading through the third quarter of our homeschool year. And like I said before, we're well into our fourth quarter. We're hoping to be done real soon. Yes, even though we homeschool year round, we'll be continuing. But summer becomes lighter, easier, less stressful, and all that stuff.